So you're going to have to excuse the pace that I'm talking. I might be talking very fast, as well as the mistakes. I hope there are not many that I might be making. It's the first time that I'm doing that. You would probably see me somewhere at the back taking notes, and that was really thrown at me, Ralph, so thank you very much for that. What has been happening in the past 6 months in Greece is that for us, for Nea Demokratia, it was a new leadership. Why am I saying that, and why I'm going to be talking about that is the reason that will be linked to the strategy we've been following for the past 6 months as regards the coalition government of Syriza, which is the leftist government, with the populist right. They are called independent Greeks. That was the formation that was re-elected in September 2015 after the first election in January 2015 following a government by Nea Demokratia. Now, since September 2015, we've had 3 elections in Greece. We've had the first one, we had the one in January, and we had a referendum that went really bad for us. We followed the campaign of Yes. The Yes campaign was the one advocating for the signature of the new memorandum, something that, to our mind, would be making a positive contribution to us staying within the European Union. Now, the reason I decided to call my presentation Reality Check is actually the collision of the government with reality. After so many lies that have been told, after so many promises that have been made to the Greek people, promises that were more or less worth 13 billion euro during the official, let's say, State of the Union speech of Alexis Tsipras during the first months just before he gained power, we now try to shed light on what the government actually does, not only on the economy count, but as an attack on the institutions, as well as some things that we hold very dearly as education and justice. So, I would like to walk you through a little bit our strategy within the party, because we thought that it was extremely important for us to reform our party, our house, and then try to convince the people that we really mean what we say. So, since January 2016, when the new president, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, took power, after being elected by almost 403,000 members of the party, we decided to have processes implemented within the party that can help us talk to new people, embrace new public, and even have more volunteers come towards our efforts in order to try and, first of all, compile a government plan that will encompass all the axes, all the sectors of economy, policy, and different kinds of policy, and secondly, have new ideas, fresh ideas coming towards us by people that have not traditionally been interested in parties or attracted, let's say, by political formations. So the new president was elected. I think that should be, so this would work. No, it's not working, it's fine. We had some internal elections where we saw the renewal of about 70% of the human resources in our local offices. We had open call. We usually have open call processes to get new people to help us. We don't have money to pay them, so it's always on a voluntary basis. And we started different initiatives like a Participate and I would like to stress on that, we called for financial support. Now, what's happening in Greece is that the parties get funded by the state. And with that, they also get loans. That means they have accumulated for the past, let's say, 15 years, a lot of loans. What the new president has done was trying to tackle this financial crisis within the party by meeting all the obligations for the loans and calling for financial support by our members. Let's not forget, it's a persistent crisis for the past 6 years. People are not really willing to participate and paying their fees as party members. So it was very important for us to have an open and transparent process. It all happens online. We used to have coupons. We don't use them anymore. And people have been responding quite positively. we had to deal with another very important problem. I don't know if you have any Young Union or some other political youth organization members here. We dissolved the youth of Nea Demokratia, and we did that because there was a Congress that had not such transparent ways of electing its members, so we thought that it was a good signal to try and show that the new youth of New Democracy is going to be restarted on very clear and very transparent rules. We had a new party congress, a new political committee elected, 60% renewal of members, and we now, recently, like a week ago, we called for people who have not been close to political parties again and would like to run for MPs or would be interested to join our efforts should Nea Demokratia become government at some time soon, I hope. They can come and apply at this registry and hopefully be reconsidered. Some numbers now. We now have 430,000 party members, and we have the basic, of course, concentration of numbers in Athena and Thessaloniki. We have this online questionnaires of how ideas on how to compile a government program, and 25,000 people responded, and they keep responding to that by sending in their proposals. 1,000 experts responded to our open call process for compiling the government program, and 36,000 young people, aged 17 to 32. I would like to stress that because it's a major challenge. We see that Nea Demokratia has been addressing quite well the older population, and we have witnessed during the polls that on the one side, the female population, and on the other side, the younger people do not really listen to us or are not really willing, let's say, to accept the messages that we have been repeating. We run online campaigns. We do that almost on a weekly basis, should there is something that is worth saying. So, this is the new president on the left, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. He's 47-year-old. And he's an economist. This is the promise that he made. This is the contract of truth, the agreement of truth. I will be talking about that in 5 minutes. Here, should somebody be able to read Greek? I know it's very difficult. It says, agreement of truth. This is the main message that we keep repeating to all people. This is our, let's say, our reply, the reply we give to the populism and the false promises that Alexis Tsipras has been making. That, for example, was our national proposal for the refugee and migration crisis to be dealt with. Some agreement that was made between the government and the leading opposition has not been kept, and we wanted to remind the government that they had made some promises on how to effectively deal with the refugee crisis that we have been tackling with for the past few months, year and a half. And the last one is the campaign that we launched for the funding of the party, and we have offered them the choice of being able, let's say, to commit some sums of money starting from €5, and people have been responding quite well. Now, our strategy, because it's such a volatile context, you have different things happening on a daily basis. You have crisis, real crisis, or some crisis that the government is trying to start in order to distract the attention of the Greek people to the real problems. So we need to be able to respond, to have very rapid responses. And we do that in the parliament, as well as the party, and of course on our online presence. We usually, through our social media, we usually post once or twice on Facebook and Twitter, and we may be making some videos, or we just launch some posters with party members and the president, and the basic messages we would like to convey on a daily note. Now, as I said, the new president set priorities for the party, so he wanted to convey the message that we're trying to tackle, let's say, the situation within our home and be able to solve any kind of problems regarding reorganization, transparency, approaching new party members. And then around February, we started getting messages from the focus groups that they would like us to be more aggressive. They would like us to be able, let's say, to talk to citizen members on television. They keep telling me that I'm very lenient and I have to be more aggressive on television, and this is one thing I'm trying to deal with. But we started compiling messages and consulting with our MPs and the people who are usually online and on the media, I'm sorry. And we launched the Leave campaign. Now, we keep asking for the government to leave because every day that is passing by is even worse for a real economy. And as I said before, we now try to link the situation in real economy with an attack on institutions that we feel that is underway, as well as constant depreciation of economy and of education. And now, this is the last 3 months that we have been talking about the contract of truth, the agreement of truth. This is Nea Demokratia's proposal when it comes to the government actions that we will be following as regards economy, as regards the institutions, as regards the basic policy pillars in order to help the country turn the corner. Now, in order for me to be able to talk to you more, let's say, precisely about how every party leader is presenting, let's say, their declarations on a yearly note, I have to explain you a little bit what is happening every September in Thessaloniki. You know, Thessaloniki, a beautiful city north of Greece. There is a big international fair, and usually every party leader is invited in order to present their view and their ideas and declarations for the year to come or the next 2 years. So, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, Nea Demokratia's president, went there, and for the first time he tried to present a plan, a program that would be to the very last euro, let's say, scheduled. He promised lower taxes. This is one point that we usually hit the government, because for the past year and a half they have been launching this overtaxation attack on every Greek person. We usually say that they put taxes on everything that is walking and everything that is flying, so in order to convey a message of exaggeration. And ways, concrete measures on how to boost entrepreneurship and how to apply a more stable tax, legislative, as well as a way in order to cut red tape, which is a very big of an issue in Greece. And another very important message of the president was a pro-reform government. He made a promise, he committed to a government that will not be, let's say, so restricted as to the party members, that would be willing to cooperate with people who are pro-reform. They would be able to take ownership of a very ambitious reform agenda, our own exit plan, and something that will not have to be called another memorandum again, because Greece would have to take ownership of the reforms that have to be implemented. And then he decided also to include another, let's say, short message for the people, for the Greek people who feel very desperate and very disillusioned after 6 consecutive years of crisis. And that would be the message of a new patriotism. And make no mistake, it wasn't a message of extremity. It was a message, let's say, of trying to bring together the people that have been feeling a little bit helpless after being constantly attacked by policies that really leave them standing and wondering about the future. And 9 out of 10 people in Greece feel desperate about the future. We have 417,000 young scientists that have fled the country in the past 6 years. I'm not saying, of course, that this is the sole result of Syriza's government. This has, of course, started happening since the first years of crisis. And this is, of course, something that all governments and all political parties should be trying collectively to solve. Now, the new words that we started including in the public dialogue is definitely trust. And why we say that? Because, as I said before, we have a large number of people distrusting politicians. And they are right in that. I mean, if you come to think about that, they have been promised so many things, and they see such little deliverables, such few deliverables on their daily life. And we talk about truth. Truth is a message that we try to include on our daily discourse. Should it be the president that is visiting some local places, or it might also be the MPs or every party member. And freedom. Why are we saying freedom? Because, as I said before, we are witnessing an attempt on behalf of the Syriza and their coalition party government to attack the freedom of speech. And we have now seen an attempt during the last few months. They call it regulation of the TV licenses. We call it a very blatant attempt to curb the freedom of press and belief in the nation's powers in order to be able to instill or reestablish some kind of optimism to the Greek people. Now, I'll show you a video and try to share you a little bit of a sample of how we present the president's or some other party members' speeches. I'm sorry it's in Greek. I wasn't able to install the subtitles. I'm still very new with presentations, so you have to bear with me.
Σήμερα στη Θεσσαλονίκη γεννιέται ο νέος πατριωτισμός. Ο πατριωτισμός που οδηγεί σε μια περήφανη και ενωμένη Ελλάδα, την Ελλάδα που δουλεύει καλά, την Ελλάδα που μας αξίζει και είμαστε ενωμένοι με την Ελλάδα μας. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Okay, what he just said is that united, and I will get back to this message of united, we can really rebuild the country, and this will be dependent on a contract of truth, on an agreement of truth that will be made between the people and the politicians. And this has to be an agreement that is made on a very, he didn't say that, I'm just explaining, and this has to happen, let's say, on a very fair manner, that the Greek people should also understand that things do not happen automatically, that nobody's going to get elected and suddenly increase their salaries, give them back their pensions. This is not going to happen. What Greece can do and what the new government can do, should it be given the chance, is to be able to attract new investment, should this happen, bring new jobs, and in this way we can really start hoping that after a while, yes, the economic context might be allowing for a return to normality. At this time, nobody can promise any higher salaries, and as I said, any return to the economic situation or the things that were offered like many years ago. Now, what we're doing in our, let's say, at the office every day when it comes to this battle. So here we have Alexis Tsipras. You know him, of course. He is the Prime Minister. And Kyriakos Mitsotakis on the other side, who is the leader of the leading opposition, as I said, of Nea Demokratia. Now, what you try to do is let's say, to demolish, if this is acceptable, the image of somebody who has promised a lot. He has promised excessively. Also, we're trying to remind the Greek people almost daily that this government that has promised a breakout or a divorce with corruption, as I said, or as they have been saying, they are really delving into the same corruption they have been criticizing. And today, just today, we have a very important parliamentary session that the two leaders will be cross-firing, will be just exchanging views on the topic of corruption. Just a week ago, we had them talk. We initiated a talk on education. So we're trying to address issues that very much concern everyone, as well as addressing all the major issues of values that really talk to our heart, and they can really help the Greek people decide at the end of the day who is more fit to govern. Now, as I said before, we were being more aggressive during February on and asking for elections in a more adamant way. And then we decided that the message should be positive. That's why you keep seeing, and I don't know if you noticed at the video that, again, we had the message of agreement of truth. So we're trying to say on every possible note that the message should be positive, that we want to really tell the people what we're going to do, what we're going to do about education, what we're going to do about opening up to new, let's say, investment areas, what we're going to do about economy or about lowering taxes, which are the basic messages that we're trying to use. Another thing that we're trying to do, and I heard about this yesterday during the sessions that were really interesting, by the way, Ralph, was about addressing grassroots, about talking to to the people in every local constituency, in every village, and you know that we have a lot of disparity when it comes to the geographical features and the relief of Greece. So we have all our party members under very strict schedules. They meet almost every week with people that come from the agricultural section, people that come from the productive or young entrepreneurs, start-uppers, everybody who would like to point out which are the issues that they have been concerned with, and probably help us compile an even more rounded idea of what they would like our government policies to be. So, yes, Athens very much concerned on the parliamentary and opposition role of Nea Demokratia, but at the same time, going out to the people, to the citizens in every little town, every little village and constituency, in order to be able to hear what these people have to say. Now, what does this show us? It shows that during October 2016, Nea Demokratia, which is here, is estimated that if we had elections like a week from now, we would be somewhere around 10% more than the Syriza government. I do not forget that there is a very high number of people who are still undecided. So we're also trying to address this with different ways. Our focus groups are always very efficient in that. And there is another one that came out last week, and it shows that we have 12.5 difference with a very high number, as you can see here, who still don't know or don't want to answer what they're going to vote. Now, this does not really, let's say, make us feel arrogant, or we're not, because we also feel that this 20% is a very important percentage that needs to be fought. And, of course, for the past 2 years and a half, we have seen a lot of polls that were not that successful. And this is just, let's say, a mirror of what we now see at the polls. Now, I'm going to end my presentation with a quote that is very dear to me. This is the founder of Nea Demokratia. This is Konstantinos Karamanlis. And he's the one that took a lot of really unpopular decisions, but he's also the one that helped the country enter the European Union. So, as the founder of the party, he has actually helped us understand that the value of truth is the one that should be prevalent. So he just said that in places where the leaders lack the courage to tell people the truth, and people lack the courage to hear it, democracy cannot function. So with that, I finish. Thank you very much.